Financial independence. It's the ultimate financial goal. I get it. It feels good to not need a job and to do whatever you want because you own all 24 hours of your day. It is the ultimate goal. But so many people choose not to pursue it because they assume that financial independence is for people that already have a lot of money or for people that earn a very high six-figure, multi-six-figure salary, or for people who are super duper frugal, who are willing to eliminate all the joy and all the fun out of their lives just so they can achieve this aspirational financial goal. They are not the only way to achieve financial independence. Let's talk about what they don't tell you. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, financial besties. How you doing? How you been? Welcome back to my channel. I missed you guys. Now let's get into this conversation about financial independence. You may have also heard it referred to as FI, the acronym FI, but financial independence is essentially having a certain amount of money in invested assets that can pay for your living expenses. Once you have that amount in invested assets, you are then considered independent because that means you no longer have to work for money and you no longer have to rely on anyone else for money either. You are completely independent of any external sources, so you can live whatever you love. When most people refer to financial independence, they are referring to the traditional meaning of financial independence. But did you know there are actually 5 types of financial independence? I'm gonna hip you to some game. The first 2 types of financial independence you probably have heard of before, but I doubt you've heard of the last 3. So make sure you watch this entire video so you hear about all types of financial independence. And I am pretty sure once you hear about all 5, you will probably be able to identify one that you would like to focus on. Because guess what, sis? Financial independence is for you too. Yes. The first type of financial independence is called traditional financial independence. All financial independence is basically a function of your expenses, having enough assets to be able to pay for your expenses without you having to work. It uses a formula that multiplies your annual expenses times 25. So if you know where your money goes, remember that video I did recently? If you don't know where your money goes, I am going to link it right here so you can go back and watch that. Wait until you finish watching this video first, and then you can go back and watch the other video that I linked for you. But if you know where your money goes and you know how much you spend every single month, multiply that times 12 to get your annual expenses, and then you multiply your annual expenses times 25. Once you have that amount in invested assets, you will have achieved what's considered traditional FI. Let's see if I can make this a little interesting, because I know personal finance mumbo jumbo can be a little boring sometimes. So let's talk about it in terms of Beyonce concert tickets. Y'all with me? Y'all understand the price of Beyonce concert tickets, right? I know you do, because I know all of y'all probably been to see Beyonce already, or you're going to see Beyonce because Sister Girl is still on tour. So let's consider the traditional FI as the cost of a Beyonce ticket. So once you have enough money saved to be able to pay for that Beyonce ticket, then you're considered financially independent, or at least you going to that concert to see B do her thing. The second type of FI is called Fat FI. And Fat FI is a similar concept where you need the amount in invested assets, but the formula is slightly different. So you still take your monthly expenses and you multiply it by 12 to get your annual expenses. But You take your annual expenses and multiply it times 50. Not only do you want enough money to pay for all of your living expenses, you want extra money on top of that to be able to do whatever you want to do, whether that means traveling more, bopping around the world, breaking off your family with some change, doing all the things that you've been putting off doing that you didn't have time to do when you were working. So if you are planning to live larger than you do when you're working, then you may want to strive for Fat Fi. And Fat Fi just allows you to live a more luxurious lifestyle. And in terms of those Beyonce tickets, Fat Fi is like buying two Beyonce tickets down there in the pit or right there at the bottom in front of the stage. That's considered Fat Fi. You're getting the full experience, but you're getting an experience that's a little more luxurious. That makes sense? I hope so. The third type of Fi is called lean Fi. When you think about your monthly expenses, instead of considering all of your expenses like you did for traditional Fi or for Fat Fi, lean Fi is considering just your basic bare bones living expenses, like your rent and your mortgage, your utilities, your food, your phone bill, your transportation. So your basic living expenses, nothing extra, just what you need to pay for just to get by day to day. And the concept of lean Fi is having enough money in invested assets that generate passive income to be able to pay for your bare bone basic living expenses. Some people like the idea of lean Fi because they can still choose not to work because they don't have to worry about their basic needs being met. At least you know the very basics will always be covered. And in terms of that Beyonce ticket, I still got you. You have enough money saved up to buy a Beyonce ticket. So you still in the room with Beyonce, but you're not in the pit and you're not on the front row. You might be a little back in the back at the top of the balcony in the nosebleed seats, but you still at the concert, girl. You got the bare minimum to get in the room. Before I get into the fourth version of Fi, are you subscribed to my channel? For those who don't know me and not sure if you want to subscribe yet, hey girl, hey. I'm Malika, the financial coach and founder of Fabulous Financials, where I help Black women learn to invest with ease so you can achieve financial independence and live whatever you love. If that sounds like your vibe, then we should be friends. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell while you're down there so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Welcome. Now, the fourth version of financial independence is called Barista Fi. And Barista Fi is taking your traditional Fi number, so that's all of your monthly expenses, multiplying it times 12 to get your annual expenses, and then you multiply that times 25 to get your traditional Fi number. But Barista Fi will take that number and cut it in half. And half of that number is what you need in invested assets that, again, generates passive income to pay for half of your living expenses. And I know you're probably wondering, so girl, what am I gonna do with the other half? With the concept of Barista Fi, you will cover the other half of your expenses by generating income by either working a part-time job. Just make sure it's a low stress part-time job that's not too demanding. Because if you still working a stressful job, sister girl, that ain't financially independent. We're trying to live a life of ease around here. So the job is usually a part-time job that's low stress and relatively easy to do, like a barista that works at Starbucks. Some people choose to start a business to continue generating income to pay for the other half of their expenses, or whatever options are available to you or whatever you would like to do. So you would be considered barista-fi if you have enough in invested assets that generate passive income to pay for at least half of your living expenses, and you make up the other half by generating income doing something that you enjoy. I'm pretty sure barista-fi is something that you can do. And you're probably close to barista-fi if you aren't there already. Check your savings and your investment accounts and let me know. And remember, phi is a function of your expenses. So depending on how much your monthly expenses are, will determine how much you need to achieve financial independence. And in terms of that Beyonce ticket, barista-fi is the equivalent of saving for half of the Beyonce ticket and then working a part-time job to make money to get the other half. Beyonce ticket costs $700, then you save $350, but you have to go to work, either a part-time job or generate revenue in your business to make up the other $350. So do you think you can achieve barista-fi? I bet you could. Let's get them Beyonce tickets, girl. And the fifth and final version of financial independence is called post-fi. Now, post-fi is the only version of fi that's not really associated with your monthly expenses. So the concept of post-fi relies on you to start investing early and often. You're not really trying to achieve a specific number that's based on your expenses, but if you start investing early, like in your 401k, and make sure you're investing enough to get that employer match, don't leave that free money on the table, sis. When you start investing in your IRA, either a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, and you're investing the max in that, when you're investing early, your money compounds and grows on its own over the years, over the decades, and it multiplies faster than new money that you can put in there. And the benefit of being post-fi is that you start investing early and you're investing as much as you can. So when you get to an age where your expenses start increasing, like when you get married and you and your spouse start having children, and you can't really afford to invest as much as you used to because you have more expenses, you can pump the brakes a little bit. You can let your foot off the gas a little bit. Because that money you put in years ago is still doing the work for you. So that money is compounding and growing year after year after year. So when you start pumping the brakes or letting your foot off the gas just a little bit, you can coast to being fine. So by the time you reach traditional retirement age, it's very, very possible for you to be a millionaire, even if you stopped investing in your mid to late 30s or your early 40s. Because when you start investing early, like in your teen years or in your 20s, when you first start your career, girl, compounding interest is like the eighth wonder of the world. That money will continue making money babies, whether you're putting anything in there or not. So the next time Beyonce goes on tour, girl, you in there. Now, you probably didn't save the entire amount of the ticket, but that's okay because your money made money babies for you when it compounded over time. That's the concept of post-fi. Sounds good, doesn't it? So which version of fi are you pursuing? Or if you're not doing anything yet, which version of fi would you pursue now that you're aware of all 5 of them? Let me know in the comments. And if this video was helpful to you in any way, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Give me that thumbs up and share it with other women you know who may want to become financially independent, but she thinks she can't because she thinks she needs a lot of money, or she thinks she needs to be saving 50, 60, 70% of her income in order to do so. Now that you know that ain't true, go ahead and share it with all the women you know so they will know the real tea too. Until next time, bye for now.